ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the first ever episode of Rock Hard Ball. I'm Carter Longy. That is Kyle Wells. We're going to be calling him Wheezy, though, quite often, so get used to that quickly. Happy to have you in here. Tried going live the first time, a little bit technical difficulties, but here we are. We're back again, and we're still ready to give you a great first episode. So we're going to be talking a lot of NFL, got the NFL draft, NFL free agency, NFL schedule release, all that stuff has been going on or is coming up. So we're going to be going over some of those things. And then we also are going to be talking a little bit of college football. We've got the Michigan-Nebraska spring games that we're going to touch on a little bit. Also just kind of talk about where we think those teams are right now. We'll kind of just lead it off with this too. I'm a Packers fan. Weezy is a Lions fan. I'm a Nebraska fan. He's a Michigan fan. So you're going to be hearing us talk about those four teams in particular a lot, as this show is going to be very, football focused. We'll talk, some basketball, baseball, maybe even some hockey here and there. But for the most part, it will be a lot of football. However, it is the down season. So specifically today, we're going to be talking about the NBA playoffs. And then we'll probably also be talking a lot of baseball, and maybe some hockey and stuff like that over the summer as well. But with that, Weez, you want to introduce yourself to the fans, or did I already do that enough for you?
I think you did enough.
All right. So with that, I guess let's get right into it. We're going to start with the NFL draft. Again, we're probably not going to get super in depth here in terms of, we're not going to go through every team and evaluate every single pick and everything like that. But we are going to, go through our teams in particular, talk about our draft classes, what we liked, what we didn't like. And then we'll also probably hit on, specifically the quarterbacks, because obviously those guys are big difference makers right away. Some of the high level picks, top of the first round, later first round, stuff like that. So we'll kind of get into it that way. Starting off first, we'll probably start with the Chicago Bears. If you're all right with that, we'll obviously big storyline coming in. Justin Fields has been there all offseason. Everybody was wondering, do they keep Fields, build around him? Do they trade him, take Caleb Williams? Weezy, I don't really know what boat you're in, but I think they 100% made the right choice. I think, I've never really been a big fan of Justin Fields. Obviously, I might have a little bit of bias as a Packers fan. But at the same time, as a Packers fan looking at it, I'm a lot more scared of Caleb Williams than I am of Justin Fields. So I think the Bears made the right choice. I also really liked adding Roma Dunze with him, giving another big playmaker right away. So unfortunately, I think the Bears did a nice job in the draft. What did you think?
Oh, it sucked. They killed it.
Yeah,
they killed it. Yeah, you have to take the top prospect guy. You have to. Pittsburgh, what are you doing?
What do you mean? You don't like Russell Wilson?
What's that contract? Do we know? Isn't he the sixth highest paid quarterback?
Well, no, the Broncos are paying most of his contract. He took like a $1 million deal with Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So that's, I guess, not. But the fact of the matter is Russell Wilson still sucks. So I don't. Well, there's that part of it. So the Kenny Pickett experiment didn't work out so well. So yeah, that thing's over. But moving on, I guess in the draft, we don't really add a hell on Bears too much. I feel like, because it's just like it was a no-brainer pick at the top.
You have picks 1 and 9. They knew what they were doing, and they killed it as they should have.
Yeah, it's pretty cut and dry. Moving on in the draft, again, we're probably gonna talk a lot of quarterbacks and then a lot of the top few picks here. Moving on to number 2, Jaden Daniels goes to the Washington Commanders. We'll kind of go duo pick here because I think this is kind of the conversation that a lot of people had going into the draft, and we'll talk about it. I know it's been a couple weeks now, but obviously it's our first episode, so we're going to give you our thoughts. Jaden Daniels went 2, Drake May went 3. I think that honestly, for the situations that were set up there, it probably was the right move. I kind of like Drake May more personally. I think he's going to be a better quarterback in the long run. I think he has more upside. However, for the situations that they're walking into, Jaden Daniels in that Commanders offense, he probably is a little bit better fit there. So I thought it was good picks by both teams. Thank God the Patriots stayed and took quarterback, because all that talk of them trading down would have been, I don't know, just insane. The quarterback's the most important position in football. You got to get a good quarterback. So I think they both made the right choice.
Both of those, though, I genuinely don't know if they're going to be good NFL players. I think they are, but I could see them both being either really good or really bad.
Yeah, Drake May, definitely probably more of a bigger boomer bust guy. Definitely potential to be maybe a top 5 quarterback down the road. At the same time, he could be really, really bad. Very unpolished, I feel like. Yeah. Whereas with Jaden Daniels, he's the Heisman winner. Everybody knows what he is. He's going to do what you kind of expect him to do. I feel like he comes in right away and is probably like a, I don't know, top 15, top 20-ish quarterback, but I don't know if he really reaches that like top 10. Yeah. So that's kind of what I see in that slot there. Moving on down, Cardinals, once again, all these teams at the top had just easy picks, right? Marvin Harrison Jr., that was the no-brainer. Mm-hmm. Generational wide receiver prospect. The one thing I don't get, and it's like, I don't know, maybe you have some personal bias here. I don't know. I guess I haven't really talked to you about this. The people who thought that Marvin Harris, like, were making an argument for Marvin Harrison Jr. not to be the first wide receiver off the board and the first non-quarterback off the board, I think we're out of their minds. I mean, he's an athletic freak. He produced in college. I didn't get that at all. Do you feel the same way there?
I guess. I mean, Malik Neighbors just came on the scene.
Yeah.
Like, it was tough not to like compare the two, but
yeah, I don't know. I struggle with that one. It's like, because don't get me wrong, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, probably number one wide receiver off the board in a lot of classes. And I mean, that's what I already talked about, but it's like Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best wide receiver prospect since, do we know when? I mean,
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah. Like, if you're getting thrown in there with Calvin Johnson, then
you're probably pretty good.
You're probably pretty good. Yeah. Chargers took Joe Alt.
I mean, Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh, tough nose football.
Instant Hall of Famer.
Instant Hall of Famer. I mean, his name's Joe Alt. I mean, come on. Everybody kept talking about his Twitter bio too. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's something about just like 6'8" football, stuff like that. It's like nice.
And then like God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Joe Alt's a future Hall of Famer. He's going to make 15 Pro Bowls and he's going to retire.
Yep.
And he'll probably never going to win a ring though. Like, that kind of just seems like the thing with like big time offensive tackles. Like, he'll be really good for a long time. And then, everything about him just looks good, but it's like, you're on the Chargers, you're not going to win a ring.
And then that Harbaugh quote was awesome too. When he's like, I know you guys are going to talk about weapons. We view offensive linemen as our weapons.
Well, it worked at Michigan. I don't know if it'll work in the NFL, but it did work at Michigan. So, Joe Alt, congratulations, 5 overall. All right, Malik Neighbors, number 6, the Giants. That's an unfortunate situation for him. Got to play with Danny Dimes. So tough luck there. But I don't know. Giants probably should have taken a quarterback. Honestly, I think the Daniel Jones experience is over. But I don't know. They give him a bag, so it's tough to move on.
You're just admitting defeat if they move on from him that early.
Yeah, and I don't know. We're not going to get into it right now, but it's like, I don't understand why they sign guys like that to those huge contracts after like one, like, oh, you were slightly above average for 1 year. Thank you, Daniel Jones. Here's all of our money. That doesn't really make sense to me. But Malik Neighbors, if Daniel Jones can get him the ball, should be fantastic as well. JC Latham to the Titans. I'm not gonna
lie. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time here. I'm not gonna pretend like I know. So who knows? Might have been a good pick. I think he was pretty generally viewed as like the best or second best tackle in the class. So probably a good pick there for the Titans, building around Will Levis, keep him healthy, because that's definitely important. Moving on down the line, we have Michael Penix Jr. at number 8. We gotta discuss this pick, because this was the head scratch of the draft in a lot of people's eyes. It was awful in most people's eyes. Again, the Falcons taking quarterback,
not shocking,
might not have been that crazy. I don't think that part of it was crazy. The part that's crazy is that they signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year contract, and Michael Penix Jr. is just 24 years older now.
He might be 30. It makes no sense. Like, I get it. I don't know if JJ McCarthy is going to be any good, but like, that's the spot where you take a 20-year-old kid and like work with his tools. 25 with 4 fake ACLs. It just doesn't make sense.
It was completely just ass backwards with the Vikings and the Falcons, because I mean, I know the Vikings, at least all the reports pointed to the fact that they were pretty high on McCarthy the entire draft process. They might have taken them either way, whether Penix is on the board or not. But yeah, the Falcons, exact position to take a young guy, see if he develops. And the Vikings, on the other hand, current starting quarterback is Sam Darnold.
How many? Okay, let's make a bet right now. How many games does Sam Darnold play this year?
It depends on how successful they are early, I think. But yeah, if Sam Darnold plays like Sam Darnold usually plays, and they're like just bad early, and it's very clear that they don't have any chance at a playoff run, 4 games, maybe.
I would say 4 or 5.
Yeah, so that's definitely a situation to keep an eye on. And that's terrible for JJ McCarthy, I think, because he should have went to a situation where he can sit at least a full year.
Exactly. But that's also just now speed jumping a little bit. You tell me every quarterback went top 15?
Yeah, that was pretty wild too. Yeah, Bo Nix, him going 12th overall. Believe it or not, everybody, Bo Nix is older than Michael Penix Jr. So yeah, at least he's going to a situation where he's going to play right away. Yeah, unless they're going to roll out Zach Wilson, but I kind of doubt that happens. And there's somebody else there too.
Stidham, is he?
Yeah, Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, Jarrett Stidham's there too. So they've got just they have like 3 of the best quarterback 3s in the league. Yeah, like if they had like a starting caliber quarterback and like a backup caliber quarterback, those 3, 4, 5 spots would be the best in the league.
Yeah, it's a great bullpen.
Yeah, it's a fantastic bullpen.
On any day.
yeah. You probably don't want any of them to start ever. No. But yeah, you know what? Let's not hit on Bo Nix too much yet, I guess. Maybe he'll be okay in the NFL. Yeah, he's old.
Do you think he's a week 1 starter?
I think he has to be. I don't think you can take him 12 overall with your other quarterbacks on the roster being Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham and not play him, right?
True.
I mean, again, it's like we've got 3 quarterback threes here, guys. Like, what do we? I don't know what the game plan is.
Situation though, where they're gonna on that Saturday before the first game, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, we'll see how I feel in the morning." You won't know.
No, yeah, I don't think we're gonna have any idea. That's gonna be an interesting situation. The Broncos just, I mean, the quarterback situation there is just unbelievable. We've got Sam Johnson commenting on YouTube, says Bo Nix, the future Hall of Famer, Drew Brees 2.0. Hey Sam, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. I don't think he's Drew Brees 2.0. If you're a Broncos fan, I'm sorry, but I just don't think it's gonna work out for you. Moving on, I guess I don't know if you really hit on that Olu Fash now to the Jets again. I'm not gonna talk tackles. No. Like really, Joe Alt will talk because Joe Alt seems just sick. Just seems like an ultimate football guy. But Brock Bowers at 13. I mean, interesting pick because it's the Raiders to a point because they just took one last year, right? I think Michael Mayer was a rookie, and he had a good rookie year. But Brock Bowers is like clearly the best like offensive skill position player outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. and like Malik Neighbors, probably maybe Roma Duze. He gets thrown in that category with all of them. Like, I mean, clear top guys. If you're gonna take a skill position guy there, that's who it's gonna be. Just a little interesting because they already got a good young tight end there. And then kind of just moving out through the rest of the first round. We'll kind of just move down and maybe talk about some of our team's picks. Lions, I think, made a really great pick at 24. Unfortunately, Terrion Arnold, that's really unfortunate, especially because the Packers are right there too, and then the Lions just trade right in front of them and then take them. And so, that kind of sucks. But I don't know. The Packers apparently just weren't going to take corner anyways because Cooper DeJean was still there. They passed on him too. But Terrion Arnold, though, ridiculous pick. I mean, give your thoughts.
And he's wearing number 0, which means so he'll probably be a borderline Hall of Famer right away.
Yeah, you think so?
You see the quote of his mom. His mom was a receiver. He'd jam her in the dirt.
I did not see that. No.
He's a freak. It's an awesome pick though.
Yeah, certified dog. I mean, if you say he's going to shove his mom in the dirt. Jordan Morgan for the Packers. Very just Packers pick.
I don't know who he is.
I mean, he's an offensive tackle, all right? I mean, the Packers always draft him. They develop him. I mean, coming in, every single Packers fan on earth wanted corner. And based on that fact, every single one of them should have known that the Packers were never going to take corner because I think they have to be the number one franchise for just like doing the complete opposite of what all their fans want and like what every single person, like every media person says, like, hey, this would be a good pick for the Packers. And then they immediately are just like, you know what? We are way smarter than all of you, so we're just not going to do that. Usually it works out for the most part. I will say they usually draft pretty well. Their first rounders aren't always home run picks, but the Packers usually draft well. They draft offensive linemen in particular well. So I kind of like that out of them. I don't mind seeing them go get a guy like that just kind of fits their needs. But that was kind of the first round. Again, mostly just quarterbacks talk. And then obviously a very good wide receiver class this year. We'll see how that kind of all shakes out. Weezy, if I had to ask you right now, who would be your picks for offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year?
It's boring, but Caleb Williams. He's just going to see the most minutes. He'll be asked to do a lot more than any of the other guys. And I like Chop Robinson a lot.
Chop Robinson.
I was begging for them to trade up and get him, but I'm never going to complain with Terrion Arnold. But I like Chop. And Dallas Turner, I think, is a close second. Yeah,
again, going to go chalk here. Caleb Williams, I think it's pretty obvious he's going to win it. I mean, I don't know what the betting odds on it are right now. Oh my gosh, if I can talk, I don't know what the betting odds on it right now are. But I mean, he walks into a Chicago situation that's great. It's like it really sucks because it's like obviously again we're Bears and Lions fans. We're in the NFC North. The Bears might actually be pretty formidable this year right away if Caleb Williams is as good as people say he is, or even 90% to what people think he's going to be right away. I mean, there's a very good chance that the Bears are competing for a playoff spot because they weren't that far away last year, and Justin Fields wasn't good. So
exactly. I mean, you get Keenan Allen. It sucks for them though because I do think the NFC North is going to compete probably with the AFC North for the best division in football. Like the only team I really don't think has a chance is Minnesota, just because I think their quarterback situation's a total disaster.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same boat there. It is unfortunate because, in many other years and many other divisions, in many other divisions this year, the Bears, probably have a chance to maybe win a division. And unfortunately for them, they play in the same division as two of probably the best 3 or 4 teams in the NFC.
Yeah.
So
I pulled it up. Caleb Williams is plus 170.
Okay.
And then Daniels is behind him. And then actually Marvin Harrison is don't even see. Drake May has the 9th best odds to win, which is interesting to me.
Do they think he's not going to start?
Clearly not, because they have guys like Keon Coleman who have better odds than him. So
that's an interesting take.
And then Dallas Turner is the slight favorite.
Okay, yeah, that's probably who I'd go with, I think, too. He's going to come and play right away at Minnesota. So, yeah, I don't know. I think, honestly, although Jaden Daniels and Drake May probably both will and should start right away, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is definitely the second pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he'll get the ball a lot.
Yeah, also, Cardinals are an interesting team, too. And, obviously, we'll get into that as the season moves on. But it's like, they weren't that bad last year when Kyler Murray played.
No.
So, it's like...
And McBride's a stud. They got good pieces over there, but I just don't feel like he came back too late to what we just didn't get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, I also don't know why there's kind of been that narrative, like for the last year and a half or so. It's like, ooh, Cardinals maybe get rid of Kyler Murray and draft somebody. It's like,
I think it's just a joke at this point.
Yeah. But it was very real for a while though.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, Kyler Murray is a really good quarterback when he plays.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. Conversation for a different day, I guess. But definitely kind of an interesting little take there by a lot of people going on lately. I guess I'm going to talk about the Packers a little bit more just because, again, it's my team. Talk about their draft class. Edgar and Cooper in the second round out of Texas A&M. I thought it was a really good pick. A lot of people thought he was possibly like the best off-ball linebacker in the class. So I think that's a really nice pick to pair him with Quay Walker. So that's a good pickup. Javon Bullard, again, Packers love their Georgia guys. They've taken so many defensive players out of Georgia in the first couple rounds, last couple of years. I think that's a good pick. Obviously, they're weak. They're very thin at safety last year. They still are. They signed Xavier McKinney in the offseason, which was a really good pickup, I thought. But still definitely need to add depth. And they took Marshawn Lloyd out of USC in the third round. Again, just adding running back depth. A.J. Dillon's kind of a hit or miss kind of guy. He's all over the place. I don't really know what the long-term plan is there with him. Didn't love the Tyron Hopper pick in the third round. Didn't really feel like we need to get 2 off-ball linebackers, but I guess you never know. A lot of missed tackles, I know. I saw that a lot on Twitter in college, so not great for a team that already didn't tackle super well last year. And then they added some more safety depth, line depth, and stuff like that at the end of the draft. But then finally, the last pick I want to hit on for the Packers is Kalen King, corner out of Penn State.
Yep.
He didn't have such a good year last year. A couple years ago, he was really good.
I loved him.
Yeah.
I thought him and Will Johnson were both the best corners in college football.
Yeah. So that is a very exciting pick that they got him in the 7th round, end of the 7th round. I think he's kind of like, I don't even know if you call him a sleeper because everybody kind of knows that, like, how on earth did he fall this far?
Yeah.
But it's like, he might be like in the kind of like starting like by the end of the year. Like, I don't know what the plan is to roll out right away. Because they're not exactly strong at corner either. So it's like, if he impresses early on, you might see a lot of Kalen King on the field there for the Packers. So keep an eye on that as well. I don't know. Did you have any of the other ones you want to kind of hit on here before we move on?
No, they know everybody. The whole world knows that their secondary in Detroit is god awful. I think Nick Mullen threw for 800 yards in 2 weeks. So what do? They drafted 5 fucking corners right away.
Yeah.
So boring names, but good draft, safe draft. But both teams love the SEC because you guys Georgia, and then I think the last 3 years, every single Detroit first round picks been from Alabama.
Yeah, listen, they are typically the most pro ready, and they are typically the best defenders in the country. So, makes sense. Hopefully it works out, I guess. Both those teams they're just drafting to fill holes. It's like they're not going to make a bunch of super splashy picks because they don't need them.
No,
like there's no point. So yeah, I think they both did a nice job in the draft. I think the NFC North, like as a whole, killed the draft. They all had really good drafts, I thought. I know some people, like the Bears' later picks were somewhat questionable. Like they took a punter in the 4th round. A couple of those were a little but when you just hit 2 grand slams in the first round, in the first 10 picks, it's like you can't really complain too much or say too much about that, I guess. So that's kind of that. Moving on to free agency. We'll lead off here with the news that happened today. Jared Goff, the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, Wheezy's beloved Lions, signs a massive contract. Looks like the city of Detroit really spoke out when they chanted Jared Goff for him. What was it? 4 years, $212 million, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to do it though. Obviously, I would rather not make Jared Goff the second highest paid quarterback, but he earned it, and you're not going to turn it over to Hendon Hooker when you realize that your window's now. Like, you just paid your 3 superstars. Your window is now. And you never know when that thing closes. It could be next year. So,
yeah, no, I think it was the right move to lock him down. The only thing I don't love about Jared Goff getting a massive contract is that, once again, it happens every single time anybody gets a big contract. The quarterback market just keeps like pushing further and further higher. It's like when you give Jared Goff the money to become the second highest paid per year quarterback in the NFL, it's like we still got other guys coming up for contracts. One of them is Jordan Love. And it's like, obviously, I want the Packers to lock him down long term, give him whatever he needs. But at the same time, I would, like to not give him as much if possible. But I mean, when you're in division rival, the team is going to compete with you for the division title, gives their quarterback, a bag. You're going to have to go give yours one too. So, I mean, kind of just, I guess, touch on the quarterback market in general. So we've seen this offseason, Cousins get a big contract. I think his was like 4 for 180, maybe something like that.
It was 180.
Baker Mayfield got a big contract too.
He deserved it.
Huh? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he pulled out like.
I feel like the whole
super
country's
unexpectedly
rooting for Baker.
Huh?
The whole country's rooting for Baker.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, yeah, that was. I mean, it was fun to see, especially because like they weren't like that good, so it's like you didn't have to like dislike them because they're good. But it was like, yeah, these guys are fun. Like Baker's fun.
They're frisky.
Yeah, for sure. So Baker Mayfield got his bag, which is also cool because like Cleveland, I don't know, Cleveland's stupid. I think like kind of treat him like shit. It's like I get like you got to push the envelope, and like great quarterback plays is what wins championships. But at the same time, it's like Cleveland, you were terrible for years, and you couldn't get a guy that was competent to take the snap and throw it downfield for you. And Baker got you the playoffs, and it's like, let's throw him outside the door and bring in
massage boy.
Mr.
What's his
Masseuse
contract? 226.
Yeah, it's something. It's like I think it's like 5 or 226. Yeah, it's. I mean, that's a whole nother disaster, I guess, over there. Although that's one also that I still don't really get because Deshaun Watson was really good. And then, I mean, he just didn't play, I guess, for like a year and a half or whatever it was. But I don't know. Maybe he'll be good again. I guess we'll see. That's kind of something to keep an eye on. But back to contract chalk. So we had those ones this offseason. Last offseason, who do we have? Burrow, Herbert. I don't know. I'm trying to think who else.
Yeah, because Herbert
signed big ones.
The highest paid until the next day when Joe signed his.
Oh, yeah. It's like they all just got massive contracts back to back to back. Yeah, I don't know. Try and look it up here, I guess. But speaking of like looking forward to the rest of this year, though, we have Jordan Love, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, I think are the ones that people talk about the most that are probably going to get extended. Of those 4 guys, who do you see getting the most?
I think Dak.
Dak?
Yeah.
I think that's a terrible idea, but
I don't want to say it. I think he becomes the highest paid quarterback. I think Jerry Jones has said that he's willing to do that.
That just doesn't make sense, but I mean, yeah, it's probably possible. But I mean, I feel like you're super stupid if you do that, right?
It's definitely not ideal. But
I mean,
when was the last time they made a smart move?
When was Troy Aikman drafted? 89.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably that.
And then you trade for Trey Lance. He's
which is
chart 4.
I don't understand. Yeah, that trade made no sense.
No,
that was an odd one. I pulled up the highest paid quarterbacks, by the way. We got Burrow now at number 1, Goff at number 2, Herbert's number 3, Lamar was the other one who signed a big one last year, and then Jalen Hurts also signed a big one last year. Yeah. So those are the top 5 right now.
So then at what point does Mahomes, he's
well, I don't even know what's
going to have to restructure that.
I don't know what's going on with it because I thought they already were restructuring it. So like that's why
they did, but
yeah, I don't because that whole thing's weird because like the whole signing him for 10 years thing was like it made sense because it was like, yeah, in the long run, this is going to pay off a lot because then he's going to be like not as high paid as like some of the
by year 8.
Yeah. But then it's like if you're just going to restructure every time, what the hell was the point of signing the 10-year contract? Yeah. I don't really get that side of it. It's like obviously he's not going to leave. I mean, why would he? Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of an interesting little thing to kind of watch too, I guess, is just how many times does Mahomes' contract get restructured here in the next few years. Definitely something to keep an eye on. But yeah, I think you might be right. Dak might get the most. Who do you think should get the most? Because I feel like that's a really interesting question with those 4.
Because there's question marks with all of them.
Yeah.
Like I am not confident in paying Tua a shit ton of money.
I think this might get like, kind of hated on from other people because Trevor Lawrence hasn't exactly been stellar, but I think Tua is least deserving. I would pay Trevor Lawrence before I pay Tua.
Yeah.
So
Trevor Lawrence is in a bad situation.
Yeah.
He's talented. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd probably go. I don't know. Again, I'll be biased. I don't care. I would pay Love. No question. I know it was only a year, but just the amount that he got better from the beginning to the end, and it's like just the amount of sheer talent that he showed with first and second year pass catchers all over the place. I'm fully confident paying him. I mean, Dak's probably the safest, I guess, in terms of like what you're going to get. But
yeah, playoff loss.
Yeah,
a great regular season.
Yeah, but it's like his ceiling's just not there, like you just said. I mean, playoff loss. It's like, so that's a hard one because it's like, how comfortable are you with mediocrity? That's the question that like every owner and GM has to answer for themselves. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, if you put the perfect team around him, can he win you a Super Bowl? I don't know, because I feel like they already have pretty close to that. I don't know. That's a conversation that's I guess constantly being had in Dallas, but Jerry Jones is senile, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, back to Tua. Real quick, just hate sesh. I think he's really bad. And I just don't think he's very good at all. I think he had like one of the greatest offensive skill groups around him of all time this season.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he was good, but he wasn't like special.
It's the same story with them every year. They're regular season warriors. It's like, yeah, they're going to beat a team week 3 by 80 points. It won't matter towards the end of the year. And that's every single year. So yeah, I don't trust it. I don't trust them. You play in cold weather, they lose every time.
It's not even just regular season warriors. They're literally just like bad team warriors.
Yeah.
Like, didn't they like just not beat a team above 500 until like the last couple weeks of the season last year?
It was a long time.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't think that Tua is really deserving much of anything. Obviously, Miami's probably the best situation for him to be in, I guess, in terms of kind of what he does, in terms of just having playmakers around him, get the ball, distribute, warm weather. But still, I just don't think it's going to work out in the long run. Kind of moving away. Well, I guess first couple quick hitters here on the quarterbacks. For anybody who kind of didn't know what kind of happened with roulette this offseason, Gardner Minshew's on the Raiders now, which is just an awesome fit.
Yeah.
He was born to play for the Raiders. I mean, 100%. So that's awesome. Darnold, we already talked about, it's a Viking. Jacoby Brissett's on the Patriots, which apparently he must be the assumed starter, because if Drake May is 9th in the Rookie of the Year odds, I mean, people must assume that Brissett's going to start, right? I don't know.
It'll be the same situation.
Yeah.
They'll go until they lose the first 6 games. Be like, all right, your turn.
Yeah. Mariota's to the Commanders. I think that's pretty clear. Jaden Daniels is going to start, though. I don't think that's going to really be a conversation at all. Drew Lock to the Giants. That could be a little bit interesting. Daniel Jones struggles. Could see some Drew Lock action. He didn't look that bad for the Seahawks last year when he played for Geno Smith for a little bit. Never know there. Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky, that we don't care about those. So yeah, moving on. Other big signings in free agency that we'll probably want to keep an eye on. That'll definitely have some big implications this season. Saquon to the Eagles. Definitely a big one there. Kind of odd for him to go from a division rival to another division rival. I don't know. You don't really see that super often, but it still seems more now. But yeah, I don't know. I thought the Giants were being kind of babies about that.
I like the move.
Yeah.
I was sick and tired of seeing him with an awful team.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we all forget like how good he is, because like between injuries and just the Giants being bad, it's like probably one of the 5 best running backs.
Between them and Miami, who was a better skill group.
I mean, if you're saying Detroit, just pure skill group, you probably have more of an argument. I'd honestly maybe still lean Eagles.
I think Eagles.
But and then if you add in quarterback, then I think it's the Eagles by a mile.
Yeah.
Because again, Tua sucks. But yeah, that should be fun to watch. They're going to be really good again. So, well, we'll see. I guess they kind of had that weird late season meltdown last year.
Yeah, it was awful.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll kind of have to keep an eye on that, I guess. Josh Jacobs to the Packers. I like that move. He's younger than Aaron Jones. It wasn't going to last forever. I loved Aaron Jones. I will always love Aaron Jones as a Packer. But the fact that they did let him go and then brought in, another high-level guy, I like that. I mean, Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing a couple years ago. So
you can give him 40 touches a game and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's such a weapon to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I really like that move for the Packers. The only thing that I don't like about it is like, we let Aaron Jones walk and he signed a 1-year, $7 million contract with the Vikings. And then we signed Josh Jacobs to a 4-year, $48 million. Like, yeah, he's younger and he probably is a little bit of a better running back, but it's like, I don't know if Aaron Jones is really that cheap. Probably could have brought him back, but oh well. Joe Mixon was the Texans via trade. They could be a lot better now.
That team's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, that was the only thing they were missing last year, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, CJ Stroud, obviously a baller. Tank Dell, Nico Collins, both high quality players. Moving on.
Bring in Diggs.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Diggs. Yeah, that's probably a good point to bring up. Yeah, Stephon Diggs is also on that team now.
He's pretty good too. He's not bad.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's very good. DeAndre Swift to the Bears. Unfortunately, I think another good move by the Bears. You don't like it?
No.
Really? Why not?
I mean, that Eagles O-line definitely helped him. I just don't think he's very good. And he also has problems staying on the field.
I guess. I'll agree with the field more. I think he is pretty solid, though. I don't know. I mean, especially out of the backfield, which I think is a really good weapon to have for a young quarterback. Obviously, he's not like a bell cow type of back.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like it, but agree to disagree, I guess. Derrick Henry to the Ravens. I don't know how much he has left in the tank, but
I don't think at all.
I don't know. I think he'll still be solid, but
it'll be fun.
I mean, he's nowhere close to what he was, 4 years ago, whatever it was. That just seems crazy too. Like that seems like so long ago now that Derrick Henry was like easily far and away the best running back in the league.
And sucked. He was always on Tennessee and nobody gave a shit.
Yeah. Well, Ryan Tannehill, had that 1 year where he was
awesome.
Pretty good. But other than that, yeah. Other than that, though, I mean, I don't think there's any real big running back moves. I mean, Austin Eckler to the Commanders, but again, it's kind of same situation. There's nothing left there.
Yeah, he's washed.
Aaron Jones to the Vikings, of course. But yeah, that's kind of it for that. Moving on to the wide receivers, Calvin Ridley went from Jaguars to Titans. Feels like just a complete lateral move there, almost like for Ridley. I don't know, pretty even teams. I think he probably had a better quarterback in Jacksonville though. So I don't know if they wouldn't pay him, but I think if you had the choice, I probably would have stayed there. I don't know what your thoughts are, but
he's weird to me because I love that move to begin with. Because obviously he got suspended for the year.
Mm-hmm.
He was awesome in Atlanta. He kind of sucked. That was kind of a letdown team / move. I thought they were going to be really damn good last year.
I think that, okay, I agree with the team thing more. I don't think Calvin Ridley is as bad as probably people think. I feel like he was way worse in fantasy than he was in real life, if that makes sense.
Probably true.
Yeah. And
I'm probably blinded a little bit.
No, I feel like that blinds everybody nowadays. It's like, oh, this guy had a terrible season last year. Well, it's actually he went for over 1,000 yards, but he just didn't catch any touchdowns. Yeah. It's I don't know. I don't know if he actually went for 1,000 yards, but I don't think he was as bad as we probably think he was. I think he was okay. Yeah.
Probably right.
Yeah. No, I'm going to keep just hammering this in at you so you understand. Gabe Davis is apparently going to replace Calvin Ridley in Jacksonville, which is, I don't know, whatever. I guess Gabe Davis is always just going to be a guy that has 3 catches for 120 yards and 3 touchdowns in one game and then has 0 targets the next. So that's that. Darnell Mooney walks from the Bears, goes to the Falcons, and then Curtis Samuel from the Commanders to the Bills. Marquise Brown, Cardinals to Chiefs. That's honestly probably one of the most interesting ones. He could do well there, I think. I think the Chiefs just play calling the kind of style of offense kind of give him a chance to utilize his athleticism and speed a little bit more. But
it'll be interesting, especially with drafting Worthy and then Rashee Rice is speed running how to pick up felony charges this summer. So I don't does he even play next year?
I don't know. I mean, just something about those wide receivers, man. They got a need for his speed. They just go after it.
Yeah, bad,
especially in the AFC West. Because I mean, Ruggs. So
yeah, he's balling out in the yard.
Yeah, it's longest yard, new version. Henry Ruggs puts together a team. Cass L says Ridley is washed with thumbs down. So shout out Cass. It's my brother Wheezy. If you didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
He knows ball at least.
No, not really. He's kind of subpar. He said Ridley's washed, which he's not. So. Agree to disagree. Anyways, tight ends. Noah Fant resigned to the Seahawks. That's pretty much it.
He's got so much drip.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a thing. One of the Nebraska high school reporters was crying when Noah Fant resigned his contract, which I don't know. It was actually kind of cool, because he covered him through high school and stuff like that. And then Noah Fant quoted him. So I don't know. I just for some reason that popped up somewhere on my timeline today. Just reminded me of it, but yeah. Christian Wilkins, moving on to D-line now. He went to the Raiders. I don't know. He's really good, so yeah. that should improve the Raiders. Leaving the Dolphins, kind of tough for them. I don't know if there's really anything else to really note here. Danielle Hunter, another good piece that the Texans picked up. That's probably worth noting, I'd say, because just another piece that adds to that team. And then Brian Burns goes to the Giants. Good good thing he got out of Carolina because that is a dumpster fire and a half over there. So good to see him get out of there because, he got traded there and probably just has hated his life ever since. But good news. Now you go to the Giants, which are also just a top class organization. So that works out well for him. Not so much. Patrick Queen left the Ravens, went to the Steelers. It's kind of disappointing because I thought it was kind of fun to watch, with the Raiders or Ravens, excuse me. Just having two super good linebackers again, like Patrick Queen and then Roquan. So that would have been kind of fun to watch.
Joining your rival is a little fucked up, but
yeah, I don't know. Like I said earlier, I feel like we see a lot more of that now. It's just that's not really.
You just follow the money now.
Yeah, no, people don't really care about that. Yeah, so I don't know. There wasn't really any big corners, I don't think, that really traded teams. Jeff Okudah actually got signed by the Texans. So,
how many games has he played in his career? 4?
I don't know. However many the Lions had him play before he before they realized that he was just awful. Maybe the worst pick ever.
In recent memory, yeah.
He went 3 overall.
Yeah, really bad.
Seems like a long time. Again, seems like a long time ago, but he was.
It sucks. Terrible. He's had Achilles issues and staying on the field, but looking back at that, I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll root for him.
You root for him?
I'll root for him.
Okay. Safeties. Again, I already kind of hit on it earlier, but Xavier McKinney to the Packers, I think, great pickup. Huge upgrade at safety.
What was the year for that one?
Huh?
How many years was that?
4 years, $68 million.
Yeah, it's a great deal.
$17 million a year. One of the best safeties in the league. So, I think that's a really good pickup for them. Excited for that. Then they let Darnell Savage walk. Obviously, Savage walking and bringing in McKinney. Obviously, it's a lot more money, but I don't know. I think that was a really good pickup. And that kind of does it for the NFL free agency. But with that, we are a little over 30 minutes in the show. So we're going to run a quick commercial here. And then when we get back from this little minute break, we're going to get into more of college football and then the NBA playoffs as well. So stay with us here on Rock Hard Ball. We're part of the Dogs Media Network here with College Football Dogs, and we'll be right back.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
All right, and we are back. So like I said, as we move forward here, we're going to do a couple quick hitters here with some other football things going on. I guess NFL schedule release, we haven't really got into that yet. We'll just kind of do a couple quick hitters here. The Chiefs will host the Ravens to open the season. So AFC Championship game rematch. That should be a fun game. Good way to start the season. Also, the Eagles are going to host the Packers in the first Friday night game of the NFL since 1970. And it'll also be the first ever game in Brazil. So that should be kind of fun as well. Those are going to be the 2 first games of the season. And then another thing kind of want to just hit on those 2 things is because the full schedule is being released on Wednesday. So on Thursday, we'll probably talk a little bit about that. Some of the schedules out there. Because obviously we know who teams' opponents are. We know where they're playing home and away. But the order that you play opponents can definitely, affect things. There are a couple teams that had to run a gauntlet last year. The Eagles were one of them, kind of contributed to their late season downfall there. So we'll kind of keep an eye up, on that. Go through that, see who gets kind of catches some breaks there or who gets, kind of screwed over. So we'll kind of just go through that, take a look at all that good stuff. But that's probably going to be all for NFL tonight. Again, on Thursday, we'll probably hit some more stuff there. But moving forward here, a couple quick college football hitters here, mostly about Nebraska. Talk about a little bit about the spring game. I thought Nebraska, the spring game went really well for them. Dylan Raiola in particular, I know it's kind of the cookie cutter take, and it's what we all hope for, and I mean, hopefully it works out. He looked good. I thought he looked really good in the spring game. Made some good throws, and I mean that's really all he has to do. I think in high school he took care of the ball. Didn't ever really fumble. Didn't really throw many picks. Which high school is one thing, college is another. But at the same time, just having that, I guess, basis of just not turning the ball over is going to be huge. Because I mean, Nebraska's roster last year was good enough to probably win 7 or 8 games. They just didn't have a quarterback. So I mean, they return a lot of the same roster. The schedule's even lighter this year. Going into that Ohio State game in week 8, they should honestly probably be 7-0. If you look at their early schedule, I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but they really should have a good chance to just take off running next year in the college football season. And Raiola is obviously going to be just a huge part of that because it's quarterback. It's the most important position in football. And I think he's gonna be really good. I don't know. What did you watch the game? What did you think?
I did. I'm just a little scared every time a true freshman starts. Which he's going to. It scares me. Who was the last great true freshman probably to start?
Caleb Williams, probably. I mean, he didn't start immediately, but I mean, he came in like late, week 2, something like that.
No, I mean, last year they just couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah,
they clearly should have won probably 8 or 9 games. And I think you're right. If all things go well, they will be 7-0 going into that week.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like with this, the schedule set up that Nebraska has for next year, and again, assuming that Raiola he doesn't even have to be great right away. Like he doesn't have to look like a NFL prospect off the rip. It's like if he's just serviceable, takes care of the ball, makes some big throws here and there. I mean, I think there's a really good chance that Nebraska wins 8-9 games. So yeah, I'm very excited. It's like it sucks because I'm from North Dakota originally, so I didn't grow up in the Nebraska fan base, but I'm well aware of the history, especially the recent history. And there's been a lot of high hopes for seasons heading in to the start here recently. And unfortunately, it's often ended in heartbreak and just misery. But I truly do think that this is probably the first time, even since I really became a true fan within the last 3 or 4 years, that you can look at it and truly have valid hope, I guess, if that makes sense. Because it's I mean, even last year you could say a little bit too. It's Matt Rule is a proven college head coach. I like everything that he's done at the program so far. I don't think he's hardly made a wrong step so far. So that's so much of it in college football is the coach, the program. So I really like that. I think that gives Nebraska a leg up just immediately. Obviously, it's working. You got Raiola to flip from Georgia. I mean, obviously, I'm sure they gave him a bag, but still.
Yeah, I mean, family connections.
Family connections too, yeah. So, I mean, Frost blew it. That entire recruitment, he blew it. And so that's why he ended up at Georgia in the first place. So the fact that Rule was able to come in and flip him back to Nebraska, I think says a lot about the program. And now I think you're even starting to see more dividends of it pay off because Nebraska just got a commit from TJ Lateef, who's a 4-star quarterback. He's 25th on the on-3 industry average. So I think, the combination of, Raiola coming here, even Danny Kalin, the in-state guy, who was a high 3-star that's here, and then now Lateef. I mean, I think there's a good chance that you might continually see Nebraska now start to get these high-level quarterbacks and just high-level recruits in general. Nebraska's always recruited well, but I mean, they haven't gotten really the high blue chip guys.
And they
lately.
should though too.
Yeah,
high market football team.
Yeah, I mean, national fan base, lots of history, and now obviously NIL helps out too. I know Nebraska probably doesn't quite have the stable in terms of the NIL as your Ohio States and your Michigan and stuff like that, but they definitely have more than some of these teams that have been better than them lately. I'm sure they have more than Iowa, probably Wisconsin. I feel like in that factor, they probably have a better NIL fund, probably a better draw in that facet. They've just been so bad. It's nobody wants to play here when you're bad. So I don't know.
But my question to you though is floor ceiling for this next year's Nebraska team. What do you think the floor is and what do you think the ceiling is? And which way do you think it's closer to in reality, probably?
I think the floor is 6-6. Just talking regular season, obviously. Yeah. Floor 6-6. And I think the ceiling is a really hard question with Nebraska, I think, because it's again, true freshman quarterback, you don't really know what's going to happen. But if their defense is as good as it was last year, and obviously they're much more confident in the wide receiver room this year as well, from everything that we can see. If Raiola is really good right away, if he's a top 5, even a top 5 quarterback in the Big Ten or top 4 quarterback in the Big Ten, I don't think it's that crazy to say that they could maybe win 10 games. I don't think it's crazy. As far as where I think they'll actually end up,
for sure. because with the conference realignment, they definitely have the easier schedule
Yeah.
than some.
Yeah, so
Some
I
have gauntlets.
I don't think it's crazy to say something like that. I think that there's like a very real chance to, like, again, we talk how easy, that early schedule is before they go to that Ohio State game. That Ohio State game probably has a chance to be like definitely a ranked matchup if Nebraska can go 7-0, and maybe even like a borderline like top 15 matchup. Like, I think people are like, I mean, we've already seen it in the national media. Like Joel Klatt, I think just the other day was saying like he has Nebraska at 22 right now. There's a chance they start 7-0 that they're rated fairly high going into that game, and that could make it exciting. And if like Rila is good and Nebraska actually has a chance to compete in that game, I mean, it's going to be fun in Lincoln. It's going to be just awesome.
And misery if they drop another game to Dion.
I honestly think that there's no way that happens. Honestly, I think Colorado's going to be so bad. I mean, listen, Shadur's really good and like everything like that. It's like they don't have anybody on their team, and it's like I don't know.
And they
their
make
schedule's
themselves
harder
the
this year than it was
targets
last year
of all time.
Yeah, no, I don't get that at all. It's also the game's also at Nebraska this year.
Yeah.
Also, like people like blow last year's game out of proportion. Like it obviously got kind of lopsided on the scoreboard by the end. It was a competitive game for like the first like
3.5 quarters.
3.5 quarters, and then Nebraska had like a couple just terrible turnovers, and that's why it looks bad on the scoreboard. But yeah, no, I think with again just competent play, I think it'll be a really good game. Jason Haven says top 15 matchup will be really fun until we get blown up by 42. So, hey, Jason, you're not thinking too positive there, man. You got to keep the hopes up.
I think that's true. Ohio State's gonna be really good this
year. They are gonna be really good. But still, I think it'll be fun to have a good start. If they don't start 7-0, I don't think it's the end of the world though either. Because it's really hard to win, and it's really hard to win a lot of games in a row. So I wouldn't be shocked if they drop 1, maybe 2 games in that stretch. But I do think it's very realistic and probably should start 7-0. But speaking of that Colorado game, let's kind of bring Michigan into this a little bit too. September 7th is going to be a really fun day in college football. We've got Nebraska, Colorado, just been recently announced as a 6:30 p.m. game on NBC. So night game, national television. That's going to be super fun. Probably going to go try to get to it here. And then Michigan and Texas, I assume will probably be big noon kickoff. But yeah, that's going to be super fun.
I think it actually already got announced.
Is it?
I did, which is big noon. It ruins football.
Yeah, it is awful.
That game's down under the lights is ridiculous.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate situation. But I mean, still national television, Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, makes things excited. A little bit of an unpopular opinion. I'm not the biggest Gus Johnson fan, but for big games like that, I love him. I just don't love
when your team's winning. You hate him when.
Well, even like just, I mean, it's when it's a big noon kickoff for some reason, or like Thanksgiving games, like Iowa, Nebraska. It's like, all right, it's 10-7 here with 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and it's like Iowa has 2nd and 9. It's like, oh my god, they got a 2-yard rush. Oh my god, it's like, okay, like do we really got to do this for this right now? Like, I don't know. I think he's a little over the top sometimes, but again, for big games like that, he's really fun.
Yeah.
And he's good at his job. So, yeah, that should be exciting for sure. Now, we already kind of talked a little bit about Nebraska, and obviously we'll talk about this more as summer goes on and stuff like that. But it's like spring's wrapped up now. We've kind of seen like what we needed to see in terms of transfers and commits and stuff like that. I mean, obviously commits have been over for a while, but what do you think now as we head into summer and guys go home, have some time off? Where do you think Michigan stands as of right now as we look forward to the fall?
I don't know. I think they could be really good, but I also think they'll probably drop a few games. Obviously, Sharon Moore tested a little bit towards the end, but hard to be tested. But
tell you what, man,
that team was just so goddamn good.
He's got emotion. Tell you that much.
Yeah, not a good look, but that defense will still be arguably the best in the country. Will Johnson, Mason Graham, those guys coming back. I would have liked to see them get a quarterback, though. Yeah. I haven't seen Alex Orji throw a forward pass. That scares me. But
well, let's hope for your sake there's lots of orgies in the end zone. We'll see. RG3 will enjoy that one. All right, but that's probably going to wrap it up there for college football for this one. Finally, before we let you guys go here on this first episode of Rock Hard Ball, we're going to talk a little bit of NBA playoffs. Once again, most of this show going forward is going to be a lot of, football talk, a lot of NFL, a lot of college football. But again, downtimes like this, we're definitely going to talk other sports as well. So NBA playoffs are in full swing right now. We've actually got a game going on right now between the Thunder and the Mavericks. I don't know what the score is in that game at the moment, but that one's going on right now. Let's just kind of take a look at the playoff bracket, though, from what we've seen so far. We'll kind of tell you what surprised us so far, what we expected, and then what we kind of look to see going forward here. So first things first, starting the Western Conference here, we're going to take it a step back here to the first round really quick, kind of talk about that. Thunder swept the Pelicans 4-0. I mean, I don't know. Do we have really anything to say there? That was I think kind of pretty expected.
Pelicans need to figure out Zion, get him healthy, or else they're just going to be in the same spot every year. But they have a core to be great. But
it's really unfortunate too because it's like they could be really good. Yeah, it's like Zion's really good.
Yeah.
Also, the OKC game's over. I guess.
Yeah,
it was delayed.
Thunder won by 4.
Yeah,
to
see
tie
that
it
now.
up. So that one I think goes 7.
Yeah, that's a good series right there. I guess as we kind of just mentioned there, Thunder are playing the Mavericks. Mavericks beat the Clippers 4-2. I mean, they blow that up now, right? Like LA. I mean, I don't know. How much longer do we ride this out? The Kawhi PG thing.
I think they have the money though that they're going to forever try to spend it. But yeah, at some point
they're gonna
though,
get
you
old,
have to go far.
Yeah. I mean, their best run was what, like that first year or whatever it was, the second year maybe, when was it Western Conference Final or something?
I think so.
That year,
how far did they get in the bubble? Because that's when the PG shit talk started.
That was only second round, I think, because that conference finals was Lakers Nuggets, right? Yeah. So that was only second round. I think it was the next year did they lose to the Suns on the way to the Bucks tail? Maybe.
I don't think they did. Or did they beat Lakers then immediately play the Clippers? You could be right on that. I'm not.
I don't know.
Sure.
But either way, I think that's getting to a kind of a bit of a standstill there, where they've got to make something happen. It can't just keep going on forever with these first and second round exits. Make a move eventually.
Yeah.
So that's that. T-Wolves, and this is probably one of the bigger surprises of the playoffs, I think, for a lot of people. They sweep the Suns, and then now they are currently tied in the second round there against the Nuggets. Anthony Edwards is Michael Jordan.
He's fucking good. He's
Yeah.
very fucking good.
Yeah.
That team's just fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What does Rudy Gobert do, though?
He wins 4 Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. No, I do love those memes on Twitter, especially after, he doesn't play. They have one of the best defensive games of all time, and then he comes back and then they lose. So I don't know, kind of a weird little dynamic there. But yeah, Timberwolves, super fun, super good. Suns, kind of same situation as the Clippers. It's like, where do you go from here? Like, I don't think you can try to really run it back. I don't really know how that works at this point.
That Beal signing ended up being awful, but
yeah,
I feel like I could have told you that, but
yeah, I mean, you have two aging guys who were like, I mean, KD obviously arguably the best like scorer of all time, and then like Beal obviously has been just a super good offensive weapon, but it's like they're both getting older. They're both more fragile. Devin Booker's obviously still really good and young, but I don't know. They've got to figure something out there.
I know we're talking about those, but it's 3 teams too. Lakers.
Yeah,
they're all old. What the hell are they going to do?
Yeah, that's
the Lakers.
The next one.
I don't think could buy in again.
No, I mean, I feel like a lot of their like plans and things like that going forward is really reliant on the NBA draft that's coming up, because like if a team drafts Bronny, I mean, LeBron's gonna go there, right? Like pretty quickly. I mean, I don't know if it's like a complete 100% sure thing that LeBron goes where Bronny goes immediately, but it's like maybe the team like a Lakers where like he's already there. Do they just like
if he was there in the second round, they'd pick him.
Yeah, they just pick him.
But that brings up the question of like, does a team
how high does somebody draft
the first draft?
Yeah,
fuck it, we get LeBron for 3-4 years maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
went to Detroit in 5s, pissed off. It's like, LeBron James want to come play in Detroit.
Yeah, that'd be. I mean, I don't know. that'd be something. I mean, Bronny probably shouldn't even get drafted, to be real. I mean, I don't think he's as bad as people are saying. Like, I don't think it's that bad. Like, if somebody takes just a second round flyer on him and it's like, oh, LeBron probably comes to us for a couple of years. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, he's not a bad player, but at the same time, it's like if you use like a first round pick on him, then that's probably a lot more questionable. It helps though for sure that this draft class is really bad.
He would have stayed in school too if LeBron wasn't 40.
Yeah, I mean, well, his 40 though was like other guys was 35. So,
True.
But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of too bad because like obviously they want to play together. Like that'd be cool, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, he's kind of hampering his career by just trying to play with him for a year or two. I mean, a couple of years, but I don't know. We'll kind of see how that shakes out. Anyways, back to the actual NBA playoffs. So yeah, Lakers are done. They got to figure something out. Nuggets beat them. Move on to the Timberwolves. On the other side, Celtics beat the Heat in 5. I mean, I think
the whole East is going to just be a snooze fest.
Yeah.
I don't see a team that could beat Boston in 7 games.
Yeah. The Heat, I think, actually were, probably a somewhat popular pick to, if somebody was going to beat Boston, like they'd maybe just get bounced in the first round. Yeah. But it's like, I mean, Jimmy Butler didn't play, so that was a pipe dream from the beginning. And then Cavs beat the Magic in 7. That was actually a pretty fun series, I thought. Those are two both just young, fun teams. Why is no one talking about Paulo Banchero though? Like,
yeah, it's weird. He moves like LeBron.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like he has been probably the least talked about number 1 pick in like recent memory, right? Like, it's like no one talks about him. He's like really good.
Like nobody really talks about Orlando though, as a whole.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's why he doesn't get talked about.
Yeah,
I think
small market.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Shaq was there, Dwight was there. It's like
Penny.
You kind of think that he'd build up a fan base by now. Like they've had some good teams, like, and some really good players. But I don't know. Maybe this is the start of something there. Again, a very young core in Orlando, so maybe they can put together a couple runs here, get some playoff experience this year, and maybe they're back next year and looking better. So something to keep an eye on. Pacers beat the Bucks in 6. That sucked. Like I thought, just because like I don't know. I really like watching Giannis and just like the Bucks in general. So just him being hurt and just like them just not,
they were almost like Philly, the Eagles. Just at the end they sucked for some reason, and then injuries. It's fully healthy. They beat Pacers. In probably 5 games.
No, I mean, and then they beat the Knicks too, where it's like, so I don't know. It would have been fun to see that. But I don't know, that's just kind of the way that the cookie crumbles, I guess. Then moving on, Knicks beat Sixers in 6. The Sixers are also getting to a weird place. I think it's like, obviously Embiid was hurt for a lot of this year, which has impacted them, I guess. It seems like every year, but still, like, it's like Tyrese Maxey looked like he was really good now, and it's like Embiid's still one of the best players in the NBA. But it's like, what else do we really have around them, and how are we going to build it? Because that's, I don't know.
Yeah, if you're paying Tobias Harris so much money, it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
but they just need to add more pieces. You can't be rolling out Tobias Harris for 30 minutes a game.
Yep. And then in the conference semis, again, we just talked about it a little bit. Thunder Mavericks tied 2-2 now after the Thunder pulled one out tonight. Then we got T-Wolves Nuggets tied at 2-2, Pacers Knicks 2-2, and then Celtics Cavs 3-1. I guess that being said, how do you think the rest of the playoffs shake out here?
I think Boston gets to the finals with ease. It's boring. I don't want to pick the Nuggets, but they've been there. They're mature. They know how to win. I got Nuggets Celtics, and I think the Celtics finally get it done.
What matchup do you want to see?
I think Knicks Timberwolves would be a lot of fun. Jalen Brunson's playing like an MVP. Anthony Edwards, Michael Jordan. I want to see the Timberwolves move on. I just don't think they do.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same boat. Super basic, but it's like, well, I guess I'll say this: whoever wins this T-Wolves Nuggets matchup, I mean, they come out of the West. I mean, I don't think that.
I think the Mavs have a chance just because the super star duo, it can be a lot to overpower.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Thunder, again, great team. They're going to be great for a long time, but I just think they're too young right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could see the Mavs coming out too. But I don't know. I'll probably stick my guns there and say T-Wolves or Nuggets, I think, would be my pick. I guess we'll go Nuggets just based on experience. But man, I don't know. Anthony Edwards has looked like the best player in the NBA, like for the last probably like since the playoffs started. I mean, he's just been so good. Then he's just, I mean, it's probably biased too, just because he's just like a fun person too.
Yeah,
like,
he's 22.
Yeah, he's super young. Pretty happy-go-lucky guy. I don't know. I think it's fun to watch, but I don't know. I think the Celtics, you're probably right, we'll get it done eventually. I feel like their roster from top to bottom is just better than everybody else's. It's like not really that close even. I mean, I know a lot of other people talked about it, but it's still like almost kind of underrated. Like Drew Holiday is just such like a good point guard for teams in the playoffs. Like
he's just a great core piece.
Yeah,
they overpaid him a little bit, but it's better than having him walk.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it hurt the Bucks, I think, to a point. I mean, obviously you brought in Damian Lillard, so that's one thing. But I mean, Dame had a bad year and struggled with injuries. It's like Drew Holiday still on that team, and Giannis, healthy. It's like, I don't know. It's definitely chemistry is still a real thing in the NBA. Like as much as you love stars, things like that, just a guy that's a good just kind of quarterback for the offense and just a lockdown defender on defense. I don't know, it works out well. It's kind of the conversation that a lot of people are having with the Spurs now too. Like as they kind of looked at the offseason, so everybody's like, oh, it'd be so fun to have Trae Young, go play with Wemby. It's like I don't know how well it's going to really work because like Wemby's going to work so much harder on the defensive end, to cover up for Trae Young just being a sack of potatoes. So it's like I don't know. Yeah, their offense would be super fun. Trae Young just hurling threes and throwing up lobs, but I don't know. At the same time, it's like, do you just bring in somebody that's a little more suited to just kind of quarterback an offense and just play lockdown defense on the other end, turn them into a defensive juggernaut? I don't know. Kind of something to keep an eye on.
I'm curious what the Hawks do because they're a fun team to look. I mean, they get the number 1 pick. I don't even know who
this draft class. Really
which player goes. I don't know. I think it's some European, but what do they do? Because it's not working.
Yeah,
and you let up 140 points a game. You're not going to win key games. You're just not.
I don't know. We'll see. They should just build an offensive juggernaut and just outshoot teams all the time. But I think they've been trying that for a few years, and I don't think it's worked. So
it works. Oh yeah, exactly.
It almost worked that one year when they went to the East Conference Finals. That year the Bucks won. That seems like
totally forget about that.
That seems like a decade ago, but I mean, it was close. They had some flashes there for a little bit, I guess. But yeah. All right. Well, I think that's probably about all we had for today. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Fun first episode. Didn't have the smoothest start, but I think it ended up being a good time. Hope you guys all enjoyed listening. We're going to be back on Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. Central. Again, going to be talking some more NFL, like schedule release, stuff like that, and anything else that's going on around the league. Maybe get into a little bit more college football. Talk a little bit more about like what kind of moves were made this offseason, what kind of big transfers have gone where. Get into that sort of thing. And then, of course, we'll keep talking NBA playoffs, probably into some MLB and stuff like that at some point as well, too. That's going to do it for us. Once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure to check out our socials, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Go follow us. It's either Rock Hard Ball or Rock Hard Ball Pod on all those. So look us up, give us some follows, give us some subscribes. And yeah, that's going to do it for us. But we will see you next time.